So, we had a pretty big team this year. There was about 10 of us. We didn't all come at the same time, so it was kind of start small and then got big and then went back small again. Consisted of Steve Doty, myself, Kristen, Alan Marshall from London, Oleg and Anya were our translators, the people there on the ground that live in Minsk. Oleg's been working with us for a long time. Anya Masoit, she's been here, she's visited. Many of you know her. She's up and coming to be our second translator, because what we found with a group that big, we need more than one translator because we were going in different directions. Sometimes Dad and Alan would go this way, and me and Chris and a few others would go a different way, and then even sometimes we'd have a third team out doing something else. So it was very busy. Besides them, Jeff Bisco, guy from Montana, who you've heard Dad talk about, started the Bird of Prey nonprofit out there in Montana. He's kind of partnered up with Dad with DCHA, and really great guy. They're doing a lot of good works, and it really benefits everybody because he's able to do more, we're able to do more, and more people are benefited from everything that goes on. So he was there with a friend of his by the name of Josh Gohl, Charlie and Denya Jacobs, also from Montana, who most of you know, and a lady, Carolyn Barnett, who has recently started traveling around. She's a retired school teacher. She went to Myanmar with Dad, and talking with her on the trip, sounds like she's going to go back and offer some schooling for those kids, which is a great help in those kind of environments. The more education the children have, the more things they can do to be successful in life, have better paying jobs and things like that. So that's a great thing to have. We arrived kind of late the first day, basically just got settled in. It was a long flight, about 12 hours. It went pretty well though. We were able to scoot right from Detroit right to Frankfurt, right into Minsk with virtually no trouble. Not so much on the way back, but that's a different story. So March 6th, we started out Bible study with Oleg's family. That's his wife Olga and their two daughters. And I was here about 15 years ago. So those girls, they're in their early 20s now and in college. And I remember them running around, little 7, 8-year-olds. So it was kind of nice to see everybody again. That's Carolyn sitting there next to her. Obviously me, Oleg, and Dad on the other side. Started out just a little, hi, how you doing? Nice to see you guys. Had a Bible study, went real good. And then from there, we visited a drug and alcohol rehab facility where we met this guy. Victor the Volcano is what we started calling him. Very lively guy. We go, and this is just a house. This isn't a facility. This is these people's house. It's, where is it? Leonard? Basically Leonard, but they don't say Leonard. So it's Leonard and his wife Sveta. Now he's a former alcohol, drug abuser. He kind of got his act together. And he started helping these other guys who've been in prison come out, try to kind of rehab them. They have a small farm, so they're self-sufficient. They teach them some skills, how to provide for themselves, things like that. And he's a preacher now, too, so he teaches them. So we go and we meet, and this room isn't that big. And, I mean, you can see how close we are. We're sitting along the wall, and he's on the bed there, and our knees are almost touching. We're kind of getting to know the guy. And so, well, what are you struggling with? Alcohol, drugs? No, not really. He's done some of that, but that wasn't his real problem. His problem was his temper. Dad says, oh, thanks for the warning, as we're sitting right here. So he talks with his hands. I mean, very lively guy. And he's basically just going through the life that he's lived and all the bad things that have happened. He spent about 20 years of his life locked up. And Alan Marshall was trying to talk to him and trying to get him to think about some things and maybe calm down a little bit. But it was just making him get even more animated. And so finally, I kind of just stepped in. I said, look, man, it's great you have all this energy, but it's useless if you don't have a focus. I said you need to be pointed in a direction so you can take all this energy and put it to good use. You say you want a good life, well then go get it. And that's what the scriptures are going to do for you. They're going to give you a direction and you can run. And he said, okay. Shook my hand, sat back down, and he was cool. And then Alan said, yeah, man, less is more. And the guy, it's like he smoke's rolling out his ears. Oleg, translated, and he says, no, tell me in Russian. Oleg said, I just did tell you it in Russian. He couldn't wrap his head around it. So he starts going nuts again. So I stopped him again. Said, look, you got to hate the life you're living if you're going to change it. I said, ain't nobody going to do it for you. You got to do it. I said, we're not that different. I said, I've had a past. I was incarcerated a few times. But I had to hate it, and I had to pull myself up out of that. Nobody's going to do it for you. He was like, okay. That was it. It's great. Hopefully something stuck. But he's going to have to do the work. We can point the right direction. We can give them the information. But they got to be able to do the work. So, let's see what's next. There's another one where he's telling us his stories. And what I started to understand, what I was realizing as I'm listening to the guy going on, it's much the same as what we run to anywhere else with the people that we talk to. He was grasping for an answer to a question that he didn't even know how to ask. He knew that his life was messed up and he didn't know what to do about it, and he was looking for answers, but didn't even know where to begin or what question to even ask. So that's how I was able to try to give him something to chew on. Hopefully it works. He wants a Crandall's hat, so I'm going to bring him one next time we go, because I don't think he's somebody you want to disappoint. Hopefully he's still around. That's Leonard and Sveta. They own the house where they bring these guys in. And, that's the biggest thing with doing these trips and going to these places and meeting these people. They don't have a whole lot to begin with. But what little bit they got, they're using it to help other people. Basically, out of their own struggles, their own poverty, they're helping other people to try to bring them out too. So, you can't help but want to do everything you can for these people when they're, taking of their own resources, their own home, and inviting these people in and trying to help them. Alan Marshall there, of course. This is the church where they all go. It's just kind of down the road a little bit in Uzda. And again, forgive me with some of these names and towns and things like that, because it's really difficult to keep it all straight. So we go to the church. They have a nice spread for us. Alan played his guitar. Vieira, the Red Cross lady who's been here, some of you know, she was the contact for all this. So Dad talked about what the organization does, things like that. We all kind of gave a little testimony, I guess, told a little about ourselves. It was a good time. Everybody's real happy to see us. That's kind of the other side of the table. Same place. This is just the other side of the room. You can see Victor over there and Leonard up there. That's Anya Masoit, our other translator. Oleg, of course. And I don't have the clicker. Dad doesn't know where he put it, so I got to keep walking back over here and doing this. March 7th, visited an orphanage near Dzержinsk run by Sergei and his wife Valentina. And this place is interesting because it's not like a regular orphanage. They told us the story, and what they did, they had a son. They wanted to go adopt a brother for him because their child wanted a sibling to play with. So they go to adopt, and when they go there and they see the need and they see the kids, they adopt them and they just keep adopting them. They've been doing it for about 15 years. They've had 20 children come through their home, and they give it a home environment. They say, these are our kids, and the kids say, this is my mom and dad. So it's much better of an environment than what you find, say, in the orphanages where it's the staff. So it's really interesting. They're doing a great work, and DCHA has done some help with these people in the past. We've already given them some updates for their house with like bathroom, shower, things like that. and he does all the work. There he is. That's Sergey and his wife, Valentina there. Dad gives him the money so he can get the supplies, but then he does all the work. He does it himself. So he's a real nice guy. Again, wants a Crandall's hat, so I better take him one. He gave me a Belarusian hat. I got it at home. It was pretty neat, so I got that going on. Currently housing 9 children. This visit, we brought them a vacuum cleaner, which is what they asked for. That's what they wanted. Okay, and then the Bible study down the road at Oksana and Dima's house. Now, Oksana is in a wheelchair. She's right there. That's her husband, Dima. We go to their house for Bible study. Again, not too far from where we were just at. There's about 10 people there. It was a good time. Lots of questions, lots of interest. She's a real great lady. It's kind of unfortunate with her circumstances because by the sounds of it, she probably doesn't need to be in that wheelchair if she had good medical care. And Dad said he's tried to bring her to Ann Arbor, but they won't allow it because the Belarusian doctor said this is her case and that's just how it is, so they won't grant her the ability to go to the States to get a second opinion. It's unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. But again, great spirit, real happy, just a real nice lady. This guy down here between Alan and Anya, his name's Oleg too, and the whole time during the study, I was kind of sitting across from him, and he was just hanging on every word. You could just see that he was really churning through it and really thinking, and he even brought up a few things as the study went on. I got high hopes for that guy. I want to see him again. I think there might be something there that we can work with. Vera, the Red Cross lady again, brought us here. A few of the other, that's her husband, Vasily, and a few others. Okay, March 8th, state-run orphanage in Radoshkovichi, or something like that. We brought the kids some treats, some hot chocolate, talked to them. Alan played his guitar. Oleg, the kids love Oleg, and he's kind of a big kid himself. He juggles, so that's always a big hit. So he's juggling, and the kids wanted to try it, so he's helping them juggle, made hot chocolate for them and stuff. And this is an actual orphanage, so this is where they live. They come out of bad environments. Some of the kids were having some problems. You could tell. One kid was kind of running in and out of the room. He was upset about something. I don't know what. But, you feel bad. You look at these kids and you think, I wonder what their eyes have seen. I wonder where they came from. What put them in this place? It's not right that the problems of the parents, the grown-ups, get passed down to the kids, but unfortunately it's the world we live in, so we try to do the best we can to help them, give them what we can. There's about 50 kids there. Dad talked to them a little bit, but as kids are, they were more interested in the juggling and the treats. But still, hey, you never know what might stick down the road. So we keep on going with it. This is Stankovo Shelter. Now, the difference between the orphanages and the shelters is this has a 6-month max residency. It's temporary. The orphanages, long-term, shelters, temporary. Again, it's located in Stankovo. DCHA has done some work here. It's provided a crisis room for the mothers to stay in when fleeing an abusive relationship. Also provided 10 windows, flooring. It was Women's Day when we were there, which is kind of like the Russian version of Mother's Day, I guess, but you don't have to be a mother. You just have to be a woman. And you get flowers, and it's kind of their big holiday. So we wanted to bring some things and kind of share in that. Because, when you want to relate to people, you need to know about their culture, get to know them, show, respect for their way of living, their holidays and things like that. So we joined in the fun. Let's see. Kids playing. Well, I'm trying to There's right here. Sveta with her daughter and stepdaughter, Sasha and Dasha. This lady is a former orphan herself, and she has stomach cancer. Has a colostomy bag. They were supposed to take it out, from what Olga says, about a year ago, and they haven't done it. I'm not sure what's going on, what the severity is of her case, but like I said, she was an orphan. She got, she grew up, grew out of it, kind of got in some trouble with alcohol, got with a guy, wasn't real good. That's where the stepdaughter came from. He's in prison, so he's gone, so she's alone with these two little girls, and now she's got this stomach cancer going on, and she ain't got nobody. She's an orphan. She ain't got no family. So if she dies, those two little girls are going to go to that orphanage, and that's going to be their life. So it's a real sad case. Real nice lady. Kids, it breaks your heart. So Olga Goncharenko was a contact for both of these. Nastya, which is one of the workers here, I don't think we have her in any of the pictures. But that's Kristen's idea, not mine. They always want to feed us everywhere we go, so they set a big plate of goodies right in front of Dad, and of course he says, "Don't tell Sue." So she had to stick a picture in here. But again, Nastya, one of the workers here, she's really on fire, loves the Lord, wants to just spread the word as far and wide as she can. So she wanted Dad and Alan to come to a village, to the school, and speak to the people. And we'll talk about that a little later, because that did end up happening on a different day, and it went really well. Also, another thing with Olga Goncharenko, she's part of this church in the cattle barn. I don't know if Dad's talked about it, if anybody's heard about it. It's a pretty big church. It's about 1,000 people attend this place, and the government tried to shut it down because they want the property. It's close to town, and town is booming. It's developing all over the place. So they want the property, so they were going to try to condemn it to get the people out so they could get the property. They threw like a protest or a rally and had some other people come in, support them, and back them down. They're able to keep their place. So they're still there, and that's great. But Dad and Alan went and had lunch with this pastor, a guy by the name of Boris, because, hey, if he's got 1,000 people in his church, if we can focus on him, show him the way a little bit clearer, maybe answer some questions and kind of help him along, then he can take that information back to his 1,000 people congregation. We can reach a lot of people. So that's kind of the idea, is to work with him, to work through them, to benefit everybody. So that's a good thing, and hopefully that'll continue and be able to turn into something. March 9th, we met with this lady. This is Lena Tushka. She's kind of been on the scene for a while. Dad's worked with her in the past. Great, great lady. I mean, just the things that she does and the way she does it is perfect, is genius. I like things scheduled. I like things in order. When we go to these meetings with these people about different programs they want to do, sometimes it's a little scattered. It's not really thought out so well. This woman had her presentation locked in. I mean, she knows what she's doing. She's got it all figured out. What she does is she works with trafficked girls, both preventative and rehabilitation. Right now, the new program she's wanting to work on is the preventative side. She says she's tired of having to drag these girls up out of the gutter after they've already been drugged and abused and basically destroyed. So she's trying to get them before all that happens and give them some life training skills and so they can get some jobs, some careers, because most of these girls that she's going to be working with are orphans or bad families, don't have a whole lot going on for themselves. And but what she's going to do, she sits down and she interviews them. she's got a psychologist and a teacher on her team, and what they do, they sit down with these girls and they interview them to make sure that their intentions are true and they want a good life and they want to make something of themselves. They're not just looking for a quick handout. So they had about 50 girls show interest that want to be part of this mentoring program, and she only has room for 30. Now, financial reasons, if that can be bumped up a little bit, then she'll be able to do more. So we'll see how it goes. It's just a pilot program for right now, something new she's going to try. So she's going to run with that for now, and we'll revisit it later in the future, maybe next year, and see how it's going. And if it's working out great, then all right. But one of the things she's done in the past, and this is what I really liked about how she goes about this. You've heard Dad talk before about going to visit the widows, these old ladies who don't have anybody left, and they just sit in an empty house all day, and they're just depressed. They're just miserable. Well, she had this idea. She's got these young girls with these young kids, and they can't afford daycare or anything like that, and plus be able to go out and work and get job training or anything like that. They're stuck. They can't hardly do anything. And then you have the elderly women who don't have nothing to do, so she started pairing them up. So the old lady gets a little rug rat running around, bringing some sunshine into their life, They get the little baby to play with, and then that frees the mom up so she can go out and get some training and get a job and do things like that. She's kind of killing two birds with one stone. I love that idea. It's perfect. Everybody wins. So that's the kind of stuff that she's doing. And so she gave a very good presentation. The prevention program, we did go down to where she was going to be doing some interviews, but we didn't take any pictures. I mean, these girls are coming in off the street talking about personal issues, and I didn't want to, be there clicking pictures. I wanted to respect their privacy and let them do what they need to do, so we don't have any of that, but she's very, very good at what she does. She asked for $2,600 to start up with a program and a summer camp that she wants to do. And through the partnership between DCHA and the Bird of Prey that I mentioned, that money was granted. It was given to her. They went halves on it. She's got the money she needs. The program's underway thanks to the generosity of all of you. So we thank you very much for that. Steve, Dad, it throws me off. I don't like calling him Steve. He's my dad, but I'm on tape, so I need to refer to him in his name, so I hope everybody understands that now. They met with Yulia and Irina for relationship building. Again, some things I wasn't there for, so there won't be any pictures, but it's just because we were all being spread out in so many different directions because there's so much going on. So March 10th, met with the church run by Sasha Yashnikov, which is Galina and Victor's son. Been around a long time. They're still holding down the fort. This is what the building looks like, and there's a lot of construction going on behind it. Part of this lot that it's on, there's an excavator sitting right about there. So they're probably going to end up losing this place. They'll probably end up taking it because they want the property. So, but for right now, they're still there. Just one of the members there with her child. Of course, Kristen had the camera, so she's always clicking the little kids. Here's the congregation. You see some of our people there. That's Josh Goal, Jeff's buddy. Jeff's back there. You can't really see him except for his head. It was a good time. Dad did some preaching. Alan played his guitar. And then after that, we grabbed some lunch, and then we headed back to the flat where we were staying. And then we had another group of people that weren't at the church this morning. This is different people. Had them come over and had another church service back at our flat. Okay, there's Jeff. That's Jeff Bisco, Bird of Prey founder. Good guy, real good guy. Dima, our driver. Dima, now, I may be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure the first trip that I went on 15 years ago was when Dima first joined the team, when we first found him, because we took a taxi from the airport, and then we got hooked up with Dima during the trip. Dad says it's been 20 years. I don't think it's been 20 years. That was 15 years ago. But either way, he was with us at Traskey, the mental institution that is still very alive in my memories. We had a young orphan girl with us when Nikolai took us there, and we went in that place, and she turned around and was beating feet back for the van. She was not going in there, so Dima took her and sat with her in the van. That's my earliest memory of him. He's still hanging out, real good guy. Yuri Rogoff, most people know. He's been around a long, long time. He's still going strong, doing the pathology work, still loves the Lord, and still very active. Charlie Jacobs standing there. Later on after that, Stephen Allen and Charlie and Denya met with Victoria for more relationship building, basically Bible study, but build that relationship. There was a lot of that going on. It was our first night there, and we go to get on the metro to go down to get something to eat, and Dad gets recognized in the subway by some guy. I mean, it's a city of 2 million people. It's like everywhere we go, we were being recognized. It's like he's one of the locals anymore down there. So I mean, it's great. He's doing a lot of good work. This is March 11th. Galina, the doctor who was here not that long ago, this is her brother. His name's Vasily also. So me, Alan, Kristen, Carolyn, Jeff, and Josh, along with Anya Masoy as a translator, went to a Bible study here with Vasily. Alan said this is his second time studying with him. He says the guy's kind of hard to read. He doesn't say a whole lot. He listens, but he's just not really sure where he's at. Being from Belarus, kind of an atheist background, things like that. So I told Alan, he's the senior man, I'll let him kind of run the show and do the study. About half hour or so in, I got about 3 or 4 fingers stuck in my Bible in different spots, and my eyes are this big around, and I think Alan could tell I was going to explode if I didn't get to say something. So he let me have a few moments, and I kind of went right into it. Same thing we talk about here. Didn't have to change anything, just like Dad says. Gave him the cell phone example about how evolution really can't work, and some things like that. Isaiah 55 about the purpose, showing that God's word was sent here with intention, and will not return to me void, but accomplish in the thing in which I sent it, so on and so forth. Later on, Galina contacted Dad and said that he had called his sister and said he was very encouraged by the study. So, we'll hope that something comes of it, and probably be visiting with him again. Real nice guy, very, very hospitable. But we had to kind of boogie out of there because we were going to go visit the future site of Compassion Coffee. I don't know if anybody's heard of this, but Dad and Jeff Bisco partnered up, and they are opening a coffee shop in Belarus, in Minsk. This is what it looks like right now. It's on a populated street area. It's an old flat. They've renovated it, and they're going to turn it into a coffee shop. So this is where they're at right now. It's planned to open in about 2 more months. Sasha Chernitsky and Oleg are going to kind of run the place. No, Sasha Yashnikov. Sasha Chernitsky is going to kind of be in as an advisor, kind of help things get going. The idea behind this is to create a revenue stream to help support the nonprofits, DCHA and Bird of Prey. The generosity of everybody has always been great, but we're always looking for more and newer ways for revenue. So we're hoping this will create a revenue stream. And Jeff's also talking about opening one of these in Montana, in Billings. Coffee shops are all the rage nowadays. There's a bunch of them in Minsk, and even in Montana, it's kind of become a pretty popular thing. So if this takes off, we can take this and kind of keep using it in other ways in other places and create that revenue stream so we can keep doing the work. This is the logo. This is what it's going to look like when it's completed. That'll be the front entrance. Compassion Coffee. And there's some pictures of the generated model of the completed project. This I really like. They incorporated some of the old building into the new building, so you see the old bricks sticking out here, but it's done in the form of a map of the world. You can see North America, South America, Africa, Asia. So it's really neat. We had to meet with the designers, and they're kind of going over some of these things. So I'm really excited about that. And one of the other things this is going to do is it's also going to provide a place to work for the orphans. That's the idea. It takes these people that we're working with, some of these orphans, and give them a place to work. Put them in there, they make some coffee, they learn some skills, some abilities, put them to work. And there's also a back room, a bigger room behind the actual coffee shop where we can have Bible studies, life skills training, meetings, whatever it is we need to do. We'll have a place that we can go to keep doing more things. What day am I on? It was silly. Partnership. Okay, yeah. Meanwhile, while we were doing that, studying with Vasily and seeing the coffee shop, Dad and Charlie and Denya took this wheelchair to this handicapped boy down in Grodno, about 4 hours away. They went with Nikolai in his car, so they weren't going to take a big team. So just a few of them went. This chair came from Rock Wheels, Wayne Hansen, Montana. I was talking with Jeff about it. He said this chair would probably go for about $1,200 on the market, and they got it for $175. Took it down there to this little boy, and I guess at first he was kind of leery. Never seen nothing like that. It's too high, it's too fast. What are you doing to me? But after he got used to it, he just smiling away. He's the coolest kid on the block now. He's got some brand new wheels. So that was real good. And meeting with the family, the parents, talking with them. And we let them know why we do this. It's because of our faith. It's because of the Lord. It's because of Jesus Christ. So, they may not understand all that, but they know that these people showed up out of nowhere and gave us something that we could have never got on our own, and now our life has improved. And the only thing we know about them is they claim to know this Jesus Christ guy. So whatever they do with that is up to them. But, for us, when we go before the Lord and he says, what have you been doing down there with what I gave you, kind of the parable of the talents, be able to say, well, we supported, we sent, we did, we gave, well done. It's exactly what I wanted you to do. So that's what it's all about. Also down there in Grodno, Nikolai hooked him up with another guy. This guy's handicapped, but he was driving a car with other handicapped people, taking them to the doctor visits and the market and Bible studies. I don't know how handicapped he is. If he was driving with a broomstick, hitting the gas and the brake, probably don't want to know. But either way, the car blew up. He needed a new car so he could keep doing what he was doing. He came up with $1,500 on his own. I don't know how in the world he did that, but he needed about $2,000 more to be able to get another car to be able to keep doing what he was doing. So once again, the partnership with DCHA and Bird of Prey, no problem. They split it halfways. They gave the guy the money. He can go get his car, and he can keep taking people to Bible studies. So again, it's just great how that's been able to work out and help so many people. The other team, being myself and others, we went and visited, well, hold on. Before we did that, just real quick, like I said, it's important to take in and understand their culture and the things that they've been through, show, respect for their heritage. This is a memorial. This is a mass grave. It's outside a Jewish ghetto. This says at this place, between 41 and 43, more than 5,000 Jews were exterminated by fascists and their collaborators. Eternal memory to the innocent victims of the Nazism. So there's 5,000 people that were executed in this park. So we visited that. The memorial that they put, it's a table with a chair kind of broken and pushed together, is to represent how quickly this came about them with no warning. They're sitting at home around their breakfast tables, and then all of a sudden they're pushed out into a open area and killed, families, children. So it's a terrible thing, but that's our history. That's what goes on in this world. So after that, then we went and visited with Sasha Chernitsky. He is a painter and a great humanitarian. He's been working with kids for a long, long time. Had the soup kitchen. I think everyone's pretty familiar with him and his story. He's still working. He's still doing what he's always done. He still has a soup kitchen. Now he's feeding more homeless people than he is children. These are some of his paintings. Great painter. These will be going on sale this summer. He's coming to Montana, to Billings. Jeff's bringing him over, and they're going to do a gala. And he sells his paintings, and he takes the money, and he uses it to, support the works that he's doing. So there's some of that. I'm hoping we're going to get him here during our family camp also. So he'll be able to talk a little bit about himself and what he does, and get to know some people and get to see some other people again. 12th. How many days I got left here? Yeesh. I'm hurrying. Poor Village in Zikovici. We packed that van full of food. Took it down to the poor village, handed them out. We put together 40 food bags to hand out to everybody. There they are. Everyone was very, very happy. You get outside Mints, you get out into the rural areas, there's just nothing. You get these little villages popped up here and there and everywhere, and there's just nothing out there. They basically have nothing to live on. And a lot of people are leaving the villages. A lot of them are abandoned because they're going to the city because that's the only place where you can find anything anymore, work or food or whatever it be. So these outlying areas are getting really difficult for people. So we put together the food bags. We talked to the parents, kind of encouraged them a little bit, handed out the food bags. There's the team, along with some of the other workers from the school. DCHA bought this place. These people were living in a tent. So Dad went ahead and bought them this house, about $250. And it don't look like much, but it looks like every other house out there. So they're keeping up with the Joneses just fine. And inside, we went inside, and they have nothing. They opened up the refrigerator. Okay, the mom wasn't there, but the father was there with two small kids, basically in rags. The lady we were with, she opens up the refrigerator, and it's empty. There was a plate of fat. That's all they had to share. For a family of 4. They had nothing. So we brought them the food bag. But, the thing with the house, they're so grateful to have it, they keep it very clean inside. And they were saying how, that's a real show of appreciation when they take care of what they've been given. Can't do much with the outside, but the inside they keep very nice and clean. So, again, something we were able to do, get them out of the tent. You don't want to be living in no tent in Russia, man, I tell you what. Another house we visited, as soon as I set the bag down on the table, that guy was right there digging through it, pulling the cookies out, like kids do. He was all excited. Another house we visited, DCHA provided the water heater in the toilet, give them some things. Chimney, fixed their chimney up for them, did some things like that. Just small little things they could have never done on their own. And it cost us literally nothing, and made a huge difference in their life. March 13th, we visited with Mama Nina. Everybody knows Mama Nina. These are some of her helpers and other women that take in these children. She's a great lady. That's kind of her thing. They'd bring her these kids that nobody else could deal with, and she'd just hug it out of them. She just loves the hug. She grabs a hold of those kids and hugs them until all the bad feelings go away. So, of course, I'm not real big on public shows of affection, let alone... Amen. Thank you. So I tried to shake her hand. That wasn't going to happen. And she's just a short lady. She could barely even reach my shoulders, but she got a hold of him and jerked me right down. I got 2 hugs because I tried resisting. So I ain't going to do that again. Yeah. Great lady. She really didn't have a whole lot on her walls in her house or anything, but the one thing she had was pictures of those kids. I mean, those are her kids, and she loves them to death. And they love her. But Jenna, who was the small girl found in the doghouse, everybody remembers that story. Parents, the mom was a real piece of work. So they found the girl in the doghouse with the dog. The dog was keeping her alive. They pull her out of there. They take her to Mama Nina. Well, she was there. We got to meet her. And she's your normal, happy, everyday, not little girl anymore. I'd say she's probably 10 or 12, maybe even older than that. I don't know, it's hard to judge. But just came from all that and now has this great life with this woman who loves her like her own daughter and calls her mama and everything, no issues there. So we gave her some gifts, gave her about $200 for support. We got her looks like a plaque, I guess. Has some scriptures on it. And I told her, I said, you're one of the favorite stories back home. Everybody loves to hear about you because everyone, universal, worldwide, agrees that it's not fair when the little kids suffer because of the parents. So what you're doing is a great work. She was very appreciative, tears and all that. And thanks everybody for all that we do. There was some other support in the poor village I didn't mention. One house needed flooring for $400. Another house got burnt down. They need $100 for 6 months, given progressively so they can get things in order. Again, that was all met between DCHA and Bird of Prey. Everybody got what they needed. 3 other families need windows, refrigerators. That's waiting on estimates, but that will be taken care of also. On to, there's one of the pictures on her wall. Her and all her kids. She may not have nothing else, but she's got that because that's her prized possession. Lena at the temporary shelter. She's a very happy lady and likes to bake. So she made this cake. It says, "Welcome, Steve and friends." She works there with a lady named Angelica. Olga Gontrenko is the contact again. DCHA's done some work there, replaced some windows, some doors in the past, also gained estimates for 3 more windows, a door and a couch that they asked for. The kids drew these things. It's basically a say no to drugs campaign is what these represent. And the little kids drew these. So for these little kids to know what needles and syringes and stuff like that looks like, pretty much tells me what their home environment was before they were brought to this place, and they all say, that's bad, stay away, the typical stuff. So, but they're working with them and teaching them and training them. There's some more. These things, she made these things out of wallpaper, and it had a tag on it that says, "Thank you for your hearts full of kindness." And she gave them to all the team, but we were going to bring them down and put them here at the church building because it's for all of you. We're all a team in this. We all work together. It's not just the people that are there in country. It's everybody. We're all in this together. So this is all for you too. But she made those and wanted to give it to everybody. Sasha's Soup Kitchen. This is the last day. This is the 14th. So Sasha, the painter, he's operating out of this old school. He's running a soup kitchen out of it. He's got about 50 people that he's feeding right now. Rough crowd, but they're very appreciative to have a meal. And then he gets a bunch of stuff from Sweden. He's got some support in Sweden. So they bring him clothes, a little bit of furniture, all kinds of things. And he's got it all packed in this room. And he's trying to figure out a way where he can store things better so that way he's got it on hand so he can disperse it and give it to the people. One of the problems he's running into is kids are being taken away from families no longer just because of alcohol abuse or drugs, but if they're just poor, they don't have furniture, they just take the kids. So he's trying to make sure that these mothers and just, some of them are families, their husbands there too, trying to make sure they have those basic necessities, the clothes, the furniture, stuff like that, so that they don't lose their kids, because they're not on anything, they're just poor. The roof, this is the building where he's operating out of. It's obviously in bad shape, like most things. The roof's falling apart, but he said the rent's really expensive. He can't hardly find a place to work out of. That's why he's using this old place, because it's the only thing he can afford. After that, we went and visited Hating. Again, just wanting to understand the culture and what these people have been through. This is a pretty popular place. I think most people are familiar with it, with the story. It's World War II. The Germans, but not just the Germans, but Ukrainians that had teamed up with the Germans came through Belarus and killed a bunch of people. So this memorial was made on the site of one of the villages that was burned down. There was 149 people, including 75 children, that died at Hating. They were put into a barn. The barn was set on fire. One guy survived, him carrying his grandson out. There's 25 chimneys in this area. Here's one. You see a foundation with a chimney. On those chimneys, there's a plaque. Tells you the people that lived in the house and their ages. There's 25 of them scattered around for what the original village was. It's a very sad, sad place. 3 million Belarusians died. 628 villages destroyed. This wall represents 66 largest death camps and places of mass graves. So these big openings were the death camps, and then all these windows represent smaller amounts of people killed, but it's still in the thousands of these mass graves where all these people were killed. It's terrible to think about somebody would do that to people. So we visited that. Got to spend some time with Sasha, get to know him. All in all, it was a good trip. It was very successful. Many people helped, both physically and spiritually. But by no means complete the relationships that have been built, the friends we've made as an ongoing ministry of love and compassion that Jesus taught was the right thing to do in DCHA and Bird of Prey, and all who support vow to continue the efforts in providing both physical and spiritual needs around the world.